Hi everyone. Previous video we have discussed what is direct and indirect speech. Next, different kinds of sentences we have discussed. And in this video we are going to learn how to change sentences from direct speech to indirect speech. So changing sentences from direct to indirect. That's what we are going to discuss in this video. Just observe the sentences on the board. Miss Jo said to Jerry, "I am not using this pen." Miss Jo told Jerry that she was not using the pen. Here are two sentences. And if you look at the first one, Miss Jo said to Jerry, "I am not using this pen." I am not using this pen are the exact words of the speaker, Miss Jo. So as quoted exact words of the speaker, we call it direct speech. We call it direct speech. When you look at the second one here, Miss Jo told Jerry that she was not using the pen. These are not the exact words but convey the message and idea of the speaker. So we call it indirect speech. Indirect speech. Now, let us observe the changes that come from direct to indirect. While changing from direct to indirect, what are the changes we made? Let us observe. First thing, look at the punctuations. Here is a comma and inverted commas. Full stop. In direct speech, inverted commas there, comma there, and full stop. And whereas if you look at the indirect speech, there is only full stop. Only full stop. So there we changed the punctuations. So there is a change of punctuations. And next point. Here is I. I am not using the pen, I. And that I changed to she. I changed to she. This I and she are pronouns. So we changed pronouns. Here I, here she. So while changing from direct to indirect, we need to change even pronouns. So there is a change of pronouns. Next point. Am. And here was. Am change to was. So tense change. Am is a present and that change to past. Was is past. So tense change. There is a change of tense. Third, what we observe? Change of tense. And look at here another change there. This change to that. This change to that. This is remoteness and nearness, time or place change. It's called place change. This changes to that. And when we look at this reporting verb, what is the reporting verb here? Said is reporting verb. And this entire said to change to talk. So said to change to talk. So there is a change of reporting verb, change of reporting verb, change of reporting verb. And finally, if you observe the last change here, we, in order to join the reporting clause and the reported clause, we used a conjunction that. We used a conjunction that. So a conjunction must be used. A conjunction must be used. Here we used that conjunction. Once again, change of punctuations, change of personal pronouns, change of tense, change of place, change of reporting verb, and using appropriate conjunction. So in order to change from direct to indirect, we need to know all these changes. And if we are familiar with these changes, then we can change direct to indirect. Let us take another example. Teacher said to me, "Were you late to school yesterday?" Teacher asked me if I had been late to school the previous day. And if you observe here, this is a direct speech because the words which are in inverted commas, these are the direct words of the speaker, actual words of the speaker. So this is a direct speech. And when you look at the second sentence, it is indirect speech because these are not the exact words of the speaker. Again, let us observe the changes from direct to indirect. Same punctuations, and here is a question mark. But whereas when we just see an indirect speech, there is no other punctuation except full stop. So even we remove question mark. So entirely we removed all the punctuations, and there we just kept only one punctuation, that is full stop. And the next pronoun you here, and that you change it to I. Next, you and I. These are pronouns. So change of pronouns. Next, were, change it to had been. Were, change it to had been. Were is past, had been is past perfect. Past perfect. So change of a tense. Change of a tense. And next, yesterday is a time. That yesterday changed to the previous day. Yesterday changed to previous day. So we changed time. Look at the reporting verb, said, and here asked. Said changed to asked. Previous example, said to change to told. And in this example, said to change to asked. So the reporting verb changed. Change of reporting verb. Previous told, now asked. And the conjunction, previously we used conjunction that, whereas if you look here, we used if. Conjunction if. So finally, in order to change direct to indirect, we need to know some general rules. What are the general rules we need to know to make a direct sentence into indirect? These are the 6 points we have seen in the exam. These are the 6 points we need to learn to change from direct to indirect speech. First, punctuations. Next, change of personal pronouns. Third, change of tense forms. Fourth, change of nearness to remoteness, time and place. Fifth, change of reporting verb. Sixth, using appropriate conjunction. If you are familiar with these 6 points, then any kind of sentence can be transferred into indirect speech. So any kind of sentence from direct to indirect can be done if you are familiar with these 6 general rules. Let us discuss one after the other so that we will be familiar with these 6 rules. First one, punctuations. When it comes to the direct speech, the actual words of the speaker must be kept in inverted commas. We can use a single inverted comma. You can even use double inverted commas. Normally, a British style of writing, they use a single inverted commas, whereas there is no wrong using double inverted commas. So you can use single inverted commas or you can use double inverted commas. These words, the actual words of the speaker, must be in inverted commas, either in single or double. We have told you in the beginning, reported class, reporting class. The sentence which is in inverted commas is called a reported class. Reported class. The sentence which is in inverted commas is called a reporting class. This reporting class always should end with a punctuation. The punctuation must be either be question mark, comma, exclamation mark, or full stop. The reporting class should end with either the question mark, exclamation mark, comma, or full stop. There must be a punctuation at the end of a reporting class. And this punctuation must be very careful. This punctuation must be within the inverted commas. Within the inverted commas, which means inside the inverted commas, not outside the inverted commas. So this is wrong. Question mark and inverted commas. Not inverted commas and question mark. Question mark and inverted comma. Exclamation mark and inverted comma. So reported class should end with either question mark, exclamation mark, comma, or full stop. And these punctuations should be within the inverted commas. When the reporting class comes between, reporting class, this is reporting class, this is reporting class, this is reporting class. This reporting class, which means after the reporting class, when reporting class comes between, after the reporting class, there should be a full stop or comma. After a reporting class, there should be a full stop or comma. Now there comes a question, when to use a full stop, when to use a comma. If the reported class are two different sentences, if the reported class, here two different sentences. Speaker is one. He is the speaker. He is the speaker. But he said two different sentences. There is no connection between these two. You are right. Sentence completed. It feels strange. It's another sentence. Two different sentences. And then the reporting class came between. There you need to use full stop. Suppose a single sentence splitted into two. Here reporting class, she said, and reported class, thinking back, I didn't expect to win. This is single sentence but splitted into two and kept or placed reporting class in between. Then we need to use comma. Two different sentences, we use a full stop. Single sentence splitted into two, then we need to use comma. When it comes to the reported speech or indirect speech, there will be no particular punctuations. There will be no other punctuations except full stop. Principal asked me if I had been late to school the previous day, full stop. Miss Joe told Jerry that he was not coming to school, full stop. So there is no other punctuations we use in indirect speech or reported speech except full stop. Let us move to the second point. Change of personal pronouns. How do we change pronouns? These pronouns, while changing, we need to remember who is the speaker, who is the listener. Let's take an example. She says, my dad likes roast chicken. She says, my dad likes roast chicken. The speaker is she. Of course, there is no listener, only speaker. My dad. The speaker is saying, my dad. This my refers to she. My refers to she. So, whose dad? She's saying, my dad. Whose dad? Her dad. So, while changing into indirect, we need to use her dad. So, the pronouns, personal pronouns, change according to the speaker and the listener. Let's take another example. Which dress do you like best? She said to her mother. Here is the speaker. She is the speaker. Her mother is the listener. This you refers to whom? You like best. Who is this you refers to? You refers to her mother. Once read the sentence. Which dress do you like best? She asked. She said to her mother, which dress do you like? This you refers to her mother. While changing into indirect speech, our mother refers here she. So which dress she liked best? The personal pronouns change according to the speaker and the listener. Speaker and listener. Third, change of tense forms. Very, very, very important. So we just very, very, very important. We need to learn thoroughly, or we need to learn by heart these changes. Let us see what are the tense change. How do change of tense forms? Let us see. Present change to past. Here the tense change is called back shift. Back shift. What is this back shift? Back shift means, let us see, past perfect, past, present. These are present actions, past actions. Actions happened earlier than past called past perfect. Present actions are going on. Past actions completed. Earlier than the actions that are completed earlier than past called past perfect. So what is this back shift? If the direct speech is in present, we need to shift back to the past. Suppose if the sentence direct speech is in past, then we shift back to past perfect. This is called back shift. We are shifting back. See, present to past, past to past perfect. So always remember, if a direct speech is in present, has to change to past. When I say present, simple present changes to simple past. Present continuous changes to past continuous. Present perfect changes to past perfect. Present perfect continuous changes to past perfect continuous. So present changes to past. And here past changes to past perfect. That's what we have discussed already. Back shift. Present to past, past to past perfect. And these are the words we need to be familiar with. Let us see, V1 or V1 plus ES, that changes. Suppose in the sentence direct speech you find V1, verb V1. That V1 has to change to V2. Example, play. I play. then this play has to change to V2 while changing into indirect speech. Do or does plus V1 changes to V2. Do or does plus V1 changes to V2. You need to remember this point very well. Do or does plus V1 changes to V2. Not did. Not did. Do or does plus V1 doesn't change to did, but changes to V2. Changes to V2. Do you like? I'm just giving an example here. Do you like? Do you like? This is a direct. When we change direct into indirect, I told you this. Do or does has to change into V2. Do like. This together changes into liked, and we don't use this do. Do you like? While changing into indirect speech, we just remove this like and we make this like V1 into V2. That is the meaning. Do or does plus V1 changes to V2. Even does. Does she like? Does she like? Then liked. So we remove does. That's the meaning when I say do or does plus V1 changes to V2. Do not or does not changes to did not. But do not and does not changes to did not. But do or does plus V1 doesn't change did. V2. Am, is, are changes to was or were. First example, am changed there, was. Have or has changes to had. Have or has changes to had. Was or were changes to had been. Second example, were changed to had been. Did plus V1 changes to had plus V3. Did plus V1 changes to had plus V3. Had, there is no change, we just keep had. When it comes to modals, will changes to would, shall changes to should, can changes to could, may changes to might. Change of tense forms. Very, very important. We need to learn by heart the list. We need to learn by heart the list. We need to remember it thoroughly, especially the back shift. What is the back shift? Suppose here is simple present, simple past. Here is present continuous, past continuous. Here is present perfect, past perfect. Here is present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous. When it comes to simple past, past perfect. This is how the tense take a back shift. What we call it? Back shift. This is the third change of tense forms. When it comes to could, should, would, might, need it, ought to, use it. When these words come, we don't change. He said, I might be right. He said that he might be right. There is no change. What are the words? Would, should, could, might, need it, ought to, use it. When these words come, there is no change. We use exactly. The fourth one, also very, very important. What is the fourth one? Change of nearness to remoteness, which means change of time and place. Change of time and place. How this time and place change? Let us see. Yesterday changes to the day before or the previous day. The day before yesterday changes to 2 days before. Tomorrow changes to the next day or the following day. The day after tomorrow changes to 2 days later. Next week, next month, next year changes to the following week, following month, following year. Last week, last month, last year, last night changes to the previous week, previous month, previous year, previous night. Today changes to that day. Ago changes to before. Now changes to then. This time changes to that time. This or that plus noun changes to the noun. Let's just little concentration on these 2 points. This plus time. We have a habit of, you might have learned or heard, this changes to that. No, it is not always. Doesn't that this always changes to that? No, it doesn't. When this comes before time, this morning, morning is a time. So this plus time. When this plus time comes, then this changes to that morning. That morning. This morning changes to that morning. So this plus time changes to that plus time. Whereas this or that plus noun, for example, this book. Book is a noun. This book changes to the book. This book changes to the book, not that book. So when this plus time comes, that plus time. When this or that plus noun comes, the plus noun. Must be careful there. Here changes to there. Another very important thing we need to be very careful is regarding it. It changes to that when refers to things. Let me tell you with an example. It is my book. Now here, it refers to book. Book is a thing. When it refers to book, this it changes while changing into indirect speech that. It refers to thing here, book. When we change or while changing from direct to indirect, that it changes to that. But sometimes when it is dummy or prop, what do you mean by prop? Prop means a supporting subject. Prop means supporting subject. It is a dummy. It is raining. It is raining. It refers to what? If you question, it refers to what? Nothing. So we used it as a dummy here. We need a subject. So we used it as a subject here. It is a dummy, or we call it prop. And most of the book use that prop, and some books we find even dummy. So here it is a dummy. It is a prop. Supporting subject, that's it. It doesn't refer to anything. When it doesn't refer anything, it is a dummy or prop, we don't change. We don't change. So while watching video, be careful. If you don't follow anything, you just rewind and then once again listen carefully. Another thing is, you need to learn this table. So pause the video, learn the table and go further. Even the third one also. Change of tense forms. Even these tense form, change of tense forms, very, very important. Pause the video and then learn that table and then move to the next one. Without learning, don't move further. There will be no use. So this also, change of nearness to remoteness, time and place, very important. So we need to learn this. Next, change of reporting verb using appropriate conjunction. This change of reporting verb using appropriate. Those four what we have discussed previously: change of punctuations, change of personal pronouns, change of tense, change of nearness and reportness, time and place. These four common for all the sentences, whether it is a declarative assertive sentence, open closed interrogative sentence, imperative or exclamatory sentence. Whereas when it comes to change of reporting verb and using appropriate conjunction, these 2 points depends on kind of sentence. These 2 points depends on kinds of sentence. So let us go one after the other how these changes come. And declarative or assertive sentence. In declarative or assertive sentence, said, there will be no change. Reporting verb will not change if there is only said. In declarative sentences, if there is a said to, that changes to told, replied, stated, declared, narrated, described, communicated, reported, etc. Most of the time we use it told. Most of the time we use told. Conjunction. In declarative sentences, we use a conjunction that. Said, there is no change is said. Said to, most of the time we use it told. And conjunction, we use that. Keep this point. And previously discussed general rules must be in your mind at the same time this, so that we can change any declarative sentence into indirect speech. Let's take example here. Siri said, I am reading a letter now. This is a direct speech because the words which are in inverted commas. The words are in inverted commas, so it is a direct speech. The words which are in inverted commas, reported class. Reported class. While changing from direct to indirect, our concentration should be mostly on reported clause. What kind of sentence is the reported clause? What kind of sentence is the reported clause? What kind of sentence is the reported clause? Here let us see. I am reading a letter now. What kind of sentence? Is a statement. It is a declarative sentence, or we call assertive sentence. The first one, assertive sentence. Second thing what you need to remember, whenever you come to know it is an assertive sentence, the given sentence is an assertive sentence, you need to remember the points. Said, there is no change in said. If there is a said to, changes to told. Said to changes to told. And what conjunction must be used? That. If it is an assertive or a declarative sentence, always we use that as a conjunction. If it is an assertive or declarative, we use a conjunction that. Let us change the sentences, this particular sentence into indirect speech. Sri said here, reporting verb, change of reporting verb. Said, there is no change, said. Sri said. What conjunction must be used in assertive or declarative sentence? That. Sri said that. I. Change of personal pronoun. I am reading a letter now. Sri said, I am reading. Who is this I? I refers to whom? I am reading. Who is reading? Sri. Sri means she. Sri said that she am. Change of tense forms. So if you have learned that perfectly, I told you already, pause the video, learn that particular table, and then move to the next. Learn that and then move to the next. Am. If you just look at the table there, change of tense forms, am changes. Am, is, are. Is there am, is, are. These changes to was, are, were. Now am is here. So am. She, you can use was or were based on the subject here. She means we take was. She was reading a letter. She was reading a letter. Now, change of time. Fourth day. Change of time. Now changes to then. Now changes to then. And I told you, indirect speech always ends with the full stop. So full stop. Answer is, Shri said that she was reading a letter then. Shri said that she was reading a letter then. Let's take one more example. I went to the cinema yesterday, she said to him. I told you while changing from direct to indirect, the most important thing is reported clause. So what is the reported clause? Reported clause is nothing but the sentence which is in inverted commas. This is reported clause. Now find out what kind of sentence is the reported clause. I went to the cinema yesterday is what kind of sentence? It is a statement, declarative sentence. So, assertive sentence. It's an assertive sentence. Immediately you come to know all the points. Assertive sentence. What? Said, said. Said to, told. What conjunction must be used? That. And let's change the sentence. And remember here, direct speech, in direct speech, the reporting clause, the sentence which is not in inverted commas is called reporting clause. This reporting clause can be before the reported clause, after the reported clause, or between the reported clause. That we had already discussed it. Reporting, but when it comes to indirect speech, while changing direct to indirect, indirect speech always begins with the reporting clause. Whether this reporting clause at the end, middle, or in the beginning, but we always, indirect speech always starts with the reporting clause. So she said to, changes to told. She told him. Now here we need to be very careful. I want to remind you one point. Most of the students, she told to him. They use to after told. It is wrong. We should not use to after told when there is a listener. She told to play. She told to play. And look at the second one here. I used to here. This sentence is right. This is wrong. We don't use to after told when there is a listener. But when it comes to when there is a verb after told, then we need to use to. This is called T infinitive. She told to play. She told to play. This is right, whereas this is wrong. So remember, never keep to after told here when there is a listener. When there is a listener, no use. We don't use to. She told him, what is the conjunction? That. She told him that. I pronoun. I personal pronoun. I went to the cinema. Who went to the cinema? Who? This I refers to whom? She. I went to the cinema yesterday. This I refers to she. So she. Went. We do. Three forms. Go. Went. Gone. Went, we do. So third, change of tense forms. V2 changes to had plus V3. V2 changes to had plus V3. So she had gone. She had gone. V2 changes to had plus V3. So when to V3 is gone. She had gone to the cinema. Yesterday. This is the time. Yesterday changes to fourth table, the previous day. Full stop. She told him that she had gone to the cinema the previous day. This is how we change declarative or assertive sentences. And last example regarding declarative and assertive sentences. Last example. She doubted it is not going to work out. Reported class. What is a reported class? Actual words. Reported class. What kind of sentence is a reported class? Assertive or declarative. It is not going to work out. Simple sentence. Simple statement. It is not going to work out. Assertive. Points. Said. We don't change said. Said to. Changes to. Told. Conjunction. That. Conjunction. That. She. Look at here, doubt. There is no said to. What is the word given? Doubt. When there is no said or said to, when there is some other reporting word, we use exactly the same reporting word. Doubted. So when there is no said or said to, we use the same reporting verb. She doubted. What is the conjunction? That it is not going to work. It. Does it refers to a thing or not? Remember, it has two functions. It refers to a thing. It, dummy or prop. Let us take this. It is not going to work. It is a dummy or prop. It is referring to thing or dummy. It is not going to work out. It's a dummy. It doesn't refer to anything. It is not going to work out. So that it being a dummy, we just use the same it. So it is a prop here. It is just a supporting subject here. So we don't change into that because it doesn't refer to a thing. She doubted that it is. Is changes to. Was or what? Rule am, is, are. These three changes to was, are, were. Now it is changes to. It takes only was, not were. So it was not going to work out. She doubted that it was not going to work out. This is how we change declarative sentences. So far we have learned how to change declarative sentence from direct to indirect. Let us move to the next open interrogative sentence. When the given sentence is an open interrogative sentence, what are the things we need to know? Said or said to, whether it is a said or said to. When it comes to declarative, we use said. When it comes to said to, we change to told. But here, said or said to changes to asked, questioned, inquired, or interrogated. And most of the time we use asked. Said or said to, whether it is a said or said to changes to asked. And the conjunction, in declarative we used conjunction that. I am comparing and teaching you. Declarative. If the sentence is a declarative, while changing into indirect speech, we use a conjunction that. But here, if the sentence is open interrogative, the conjunction we use the same question word. How many question words are there? 9 question words. So if whatever the question word given in the question, the same question word we use. Same question word. Suppose who, we use who. Suppose it is when, we use when. Where, where. And inversion, this is very, very important. In open interrogative, we don't have this inversion in declarative sentences or assertive sentences. In open interrogative sentences, there is an inversion. We discussed when we discussed these interrogative sentences. I told you about this inversion. Changing helping verb and subject. Interchange their places. Subject comes to the place of helping verb and helping verb goes to the place of subject. That is called inversion. Here we need to inverse the sentence. If there is no listener, consider me as a listener. Suppose there is no listener, only speaker there, no listener, then you need to consider me as the listener. Take examples. First example. Sai said, where were you yesterday? While changing from direct to indirect, what is the most important thing? Reported clause. What is the reported clause? The words which are in inverted commas, the sentence which is in inverted commas. Now what is the sentence here in inverted commas? Where were you yesterday? Now, where were you yesterday is what kind of sentence? Where were you yesterday is what kind of sentence? Where is a question word. So where is a question word. Even though there is a question word, it doesn't mean that it's an open interrogative. See whether there is inversion or not. What is inversion? Helping verb comes first and then subject. Were you. You is the subject, were is a helping verb. So there is inversion. So this is an open interrogative sentence. To begin with the question word and there is inversion. So it is an open interrogative question. Open interrogative sentence. Open interrogative. What are the points supposed to be remembered? Said or said to. Whether it is a said or said to. Changes to asked. Third point, there must be inversion. Fourth point, use me if there is no listener. Let us see whether there is a listener. Sai said to whom? No listener. Then we need to use me as a listener. We need to think there is me, means I am the listener. So Sai said to me, that's the meaning. Sai said to me. And the fifth one, conjunction, same question word. What is the question word here? Where. So we use where as the question. Where as a conjunction. Let's change the sentence. Sai, whether it is said or said to, whether it is said or said to, asked. Sai asked. As there is no listener, I told you, use me as a listener. Asked me. Sai asked me. Sai asked me. As a conjunction, same question word, where. And there must be inversion. What is this inversion? You comes here, word goes there. I told you there will be an interchange. What is the interchange? Subject and helping verb, they interchange the place. You comes here, word goes there. Now who is this you refers to? You refers to the listener. Sai said to me, where were you yesterday? Sai said to me, where were you yesterday? That you refers to me. So I write I. I'm not writing were here in the beginning because inversion. Keeping that in mind. Inversion means subject comes first and then helping verb. Where where I verb change of tense forms. What changes to? Had plus be. Had be. Changes to had be. Where I had been yesterday. Time change. The previous day. Full stop. Even though direct speech ends with question mark here, but in indirect speech, I told you the sentence has to end with full stop. Answer is, Sai asked me where I had been the previous day. Sai asked me where I had been the previous day. Let's take another example. Second example. Which dress do you like best? She said to her mother. What is the reported clause? Reported clause, sentence which is in inverted commas. What kind of is this reported clause? Which dress do you like best? Which is a question word. Sentence begins with a question word. It doesn't mean that it's an open interrogative. Let us see whether there is inversion or not. Question word should be there. Whether inversion is not, that we let's see. Do you? Do you? So there is inversion. Helping verb plus subject. So inversion there. So this is open interrogative. Open interrogative. Second point, said or said to. Yeah, asked. Third point, inversion. So what is inversion? This is change place. You comes here, do goes there. You comes here, do goes there. Inversion. Fourth point, use me if there is no listener. Let us see whether there is a listener or not. She said to her mother, so there is a listener. There is no use of using me. Fifth point, conjunction. What is the conjunction? Same question word. What is the question word here? Which. Alright, let us write the answer now. I told you, even though reporting clause at the end, but indirect speech always begins with reporting clause. She said to changes to asked. She asked her mother. In declarative sentences, said to changes to told. In open interrogative sentences, said to changes to asked. She asked her mother. Declarative sentences, we use a conjunction that. In open interrogative sentences, we use a conjunction same word, same question word. So which? She asked her mother which dress, and next you and do. You refers to. She said to her mother, she is the speaker, her mother is the listener. Which dress do you like? She asked her mother, do you like? You. You means who? Her mother. So you refers to her mother. You refers to her mother. So which dress? She. So you changes to she. Because you refers to her mother. Her mother is nothing but she. Do like. See here, do like. Do plus V1. We discussed this point while discussing tense forms. I told you this point. Do plus V1. Do plus V1 changes to V2. Do plus V1 changes to V2. Now what is V2? Like V2. Which dress? She liked. Not do did like. Don't write did like. No. Do plus V1 changes to V2. So what is V2 of like? Liked. So which dress she liked best? What comes? Question mark or full stop? Yes, full stop. Because indirect speech always ends with full stop, not the question mark. This is the second example. Let's take one more example. Third example. Who knows the answer the teacher asked? Who knows the answer the teacher asked? Here the sentence which is inverted commas is reported class, and this reported class, let us see which kind of sentence it is. It begins with the question word who, right? Let's see whether there is inversion or not. No inversion. No helping verb. So no inversion. I told you open interrogative sentences are two types. There were two ways of expression, two forms. First form is question word, helping verb and subject. Second, I told question word plus verb. I told main verb. This is a question. This is another form for the open interrogative sentence. Question word plus main verb. Look here. Question word plus main verb. Knows is a main verb. So question word plus main verb is also considered open interrogative sentence. This form is also open interrogative sentence. So open interrogative sentence. Said or said to. Changes to asked. Third point, inversion. So there is no possibility for inversion because there is no helping verb. So we don't use inversion. Fourth point, use me if there is no listener. Let us see, is there a listener? Teacher asked whom? No listener. Then you need to consider me. There is no listener, so you need to use me as me is the listener. So I am the listener. So teacher asked me. Fifth point, conjunction. What is the conjunction? Same question word. Who? Let us write the answer. Reporting clause is at the end, but we need to start indirect speech always with reporting clause. The teacher asked me. What is the conjunction? Who asked me who. There is no question of inversion because there is no helping verb and subject there. There is no inversion. Inversion doesn't take place here. And the knows is V1. What are the three forms for know? Know, knew, known. These are the three forms. V1 changes to, V1 changes to, V1 changes to V2. Tense form. Change of tense form. So who knew? Who knew the answer? Who knew the answer? Question mark or full stop? Full stop. So the teacher asked me who knew the answer. This is how we change open interrogative sentences. Declarative sentence, differentiate between while changing direct to indirect. You need to have an idea how we should change the declarative sentences, how we need to change open interrogative sentences. In the next video, we are going to learn how closed interrogative, imperative, exclamatory sentences of direct speech changes into indirect speech. So next video we are going to learn the other remaining three kinds of sentences, how they change from direct to indirect.